What's up, world? Welcome to the Positive Truth, uplifting and positive news for a more progressive society. Tim, what are we trying to
I
bring?
have no idea where you got that flyer from. Here at the Positive Truth, we're trying to bring awareness, empowerment, inspiration, optimism, and understanding to communities everywhere.
We have an awesome interview today. Do you want to start off by introducing who you are?
Yeah, my name is Dr. Jayson Floyd. I'm a longtime educator, plugged into the community, so I do a lot of volunteer, community-minded activities that I'd love to share with you guys.
Awesome.
And I run a podcast show, kind of like you guys, and that's kind of how our worlds intersected. So
That's always a win. So we're real big on volunteer work. Can you talk about some of the volunteer work you do?
Sure. Through my professional life, I'm involved with an organization called Skills USA. It's a student leadership organization through the Oklahoma Career Tech, and so we do a lot of community service through that. In fact, I'm leaving here in a couple of hours. I'm taking some students to Louisville, Kentucky, who did a community service project through the Yukon Veterans Museum. They went and cleaned and got it open for the grand reopening. So things like that. I was displaced by a tornado. My school was flattened by a tornado. Spent 3.5 years teaching out of a used car dealership.
Wow.
So we didn't have places to go landscaping. That's one of the things I teach. So we would go out and we would beautify the city. So we do things like that all the time. So, and then on a personal note, I run a little library, which I talk more in detail about. I'm always big on recycling and picking up trash, which you guys are
We love
part
it.
of. I hear the show and I'm like, yeah, these guys are right down my alley. They
Awesome.
do some of the same things I do. So
There's so much to unpack there.
yeah.
I want to start with the teaching because we do positive news stories, and last year our Positive Truth Person of the Year was teachers because they
Yeah.
did so much great work. How did you get into it? What do you teach?
I teach, like I said earlier, I teach in the career tech system. I've been teaching for 24 years, longer than I'd like to admit. And I got in it because my parents did it. My mom taught the exact same thing I do. I teach a program called Service Careers. It's geared towards special needs students, and I teach vocational skills. My job is to get them a job. So my mom taught at another career tech when I was growing up. She'd bring me to work with her. So I've been doing this job since I was about 10 or 12 years old. So
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You should tell what your wife does.
Oh, she's a special education teacher.
oh yeah, we're at
U.S. Grant High School.
U.S. Grant.
Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. Yeah, she's loving it too. Something about teachers, I can't put my finger on it, to be honest with you, because they do so many amazing things. But no matter what you teach, I mean, you're making a huge impact for pretty much no pay. I mean, a lot of the things that these teachers do, they're getting an extra job. I know plenty of teachers. I have plenty of friends that get an extra job to help pay for their teaching habit, which is hilarious to me,
Yeah.
and I love it. Love
Yeah,
everything
so
about it.
Well, the nice thing about what I teach is I primarily have juniors and seniors in high school, and they're transitioning from high school to the work. So that's pretty neat to see that growth and to see them become young individuals and have families and kids and that sort of thing. So that's neat to see kids that developed at that age. So it's really neat.
Absolutely. We love the youth here at the Positive Truth too. So
Great.
Absolutely. So, how did you go from landscaping to wanting to volunteer?
So I don't have a degree or anything in landscaping. I kind of picked that up on my own. I'm one of those, master of a bunch of different trades. But so the landscaping I just kind of did on the side, and that was kind of a side interest thing. So I've incorporated that in my program. So we teach custodial skills, we teach greenhouse skills. So those are just avenues that we can get to employment. One of you, who's obsessed with the trees? Who
Both
likes
of
the
us.
we're both
trees?
pretty obsessed. It's
But
pretty.
he's the one that's planting them. I don't have an actual yard.
I love the tree stories all around the world. I mean, the whole like everywhere in the world, they're planting billions of trees. We're not even talking about millions. We're talking about billions. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask is I started a wheelchair accessible garden out at my center, and I got a grant through Lowe's, and I started it before the tornado when it got wiped off. This was the tornado, the widest that hit El Reno, flattened everything, and I had gotten a grant to build that park up. We were in year 7. And Lowe's turned around and gave me the money again to build that park. So it's been an ongoing thing. We plant trees is the reason I bring that up.
That's
And
amazing.
so,
Do you have
yeah.
pictures of it or anything?
I'll have to send you something.
For
Yeah,
sure. We
really
can have
will.
JoJo, he's a master of art. He can post it up somewhere so
Yeah,
everybody can
yeah.
check it out. I'm
That's
excited to
really
see
neat.
these pictures.
One of the neat things is I got connected with OSU OKC as a landscape architect class, and they brought it in as a semester project. So that was cool. The college students got to come out and measure the land. And so if you come into my shop at my school, I've got plans up there, and my students build those. And planting trees is a big part of it. So yeah, it's really neat, really neat.
So
That
what I'm
is
getting out of
awesome.
this interview so far, you're pretty much a superhero. I mean, you're doing your part. You're saving the world. You're educating. You're volunteering. It's just pretty amazing. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know about superhero, but I've always kind of been civic minded, and so I get to do that in my professional life and my personal life. So I feel like I'm kind of balancing it all off. So superhero.
How often do your students get to go out and like plant all these trees? Is this like a daily thing, weekly thing?
Landscaping is a seasonal deal. So when we first start the school year, we're doing it when it's really, really hot, and towards the end of the year, we're doing it then. We actually have a plant sale that the students grow the plants, and then we open it up to the community, so they're learning that aspect of it. So when it's warm, we're out planting trees and making a difference in the community. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Next time you do that, we'll be
All-
there.
All
Yeah.
about volunteering for
yeah,
sure.
come out and visit us, and I'll show you around, meet you, introduce you to some of my students. So.
Definitely would love that.
So you want to talk about your podcast?
Sure. My podcast is called the Human Together Podcast. I developed the name because one of my heroes, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, had a saying that our humanities are bound in each other. We can only become human together. And so I thought, man, that is perfect for what I'm trying to do. And so it's kind of parallel to what you guys do. Is I want to crank out positive things that are going on, socially minded things are going on, social justice, civil rights. Those are kind of all the angles that I want to take, because those have always been personal interests of mine. So Human Together podcast show, like you guys, I'm on Stitcher, I'm on Apple, Spotify, you name it, I'm on all those. So,
Awesome. I'm definitely gonna
Links
check
in
it
the
out.
description, by the way.
Sure.
Put them there for you. How long have you been doing it? And like, just talk about some of your favorite episodes.
So this is my I'm getting in production of my second season. I've just started in the spring, and so I'm wrapping up the first season. Some of the best episodes are doing things like this, where I get to go out and meet some people. I've done one on the Islamic faith. I just wrapped up one on the Jewish faith. It's just going out and meeting those, and it's been an education for me, because some of these things I didn't know a great deal about it. So to interview these people and then to share that information with other people is really kind of a big deal. So
I definitely believe it's special. Like you said, we get to do the exact same thing, and when we learn these new things and get to spread that kind of positivity, not just to the people we know, but other people that are listening all over the world, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's definitely amazing. It's special what we do, for sure.
Teaches empathy and compassion.
Absolutely. And I'm a big in literacy. You're going to school, you probably read a lot. And you had to probably read more than you wanted to.
There we go.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love reading and literacy. So one of the outside projects that I started outside of my professional is called Little Free Libraries, and I developed one of these in my neighborhood. We have a welding program out at my school that actually made the library. And so this is year 4. We just got through celebrating year 4. We had the Thunder book bus out, had snow cones out. So it's just a way of getting out in the community and celebrating reading, and something that I share with the community.
Just tell the story, Tim.
Dude, which one? Like, there's so many library stories. I love library stories.
We were going to do the same thing. We just didn't have a place to put it.
Yeah, that's truly what happened. We man, I'm loving this. I want to check this out as well too. If you have pictures, we definitely would love to share them and have JoJo do his thing. Man,
Yeah.
that sounds
On the
awesome.
Instagram, we'll post them for sure.
I
Yeah.
did a whole episode, and I interviewed a guy from the national organization. I believe they're based out of Wisconsin. So check out that website, because if you want to start one, it's a pretty easy deal. Just finding the location is probably the biggest thing. The supply of books, that's easy. You can get those
yeah.
just about anywhere. But it's really neat to be connected in my community. When I was growing up as a kid, I lived outside and I played outside and was connected with all my neighbors, and you don't really see that anymore. So to me, that was a way of reconnecting people in my community. So been a really neat deal. Surrey Hills Free Library.
I'm loving this right now. Ugh.
When we were growing up, Tim would be outside so much during the summer, he would have a permanent, just like tan.
I'd
from
be
his
so
tank top.
white right here.
Yeah,
So white.
He would just run outside all day, and we just all go play basketball.
nice,
All day, all night.
nice.
That was the life. We started this podcast, so we wanted to build community. So the fact that you were able to build a library and connect with your community, that's inspiring. If we could find a place, JP, I promise you we would do this. Especially after we check out yours, I'm probably going to be more motivated and inspired to look for a place out in our community to get this started.
We
You
were
should.
inspired by a positive news story. As a lady in Kansas, she called it a blessing box. And they didn't just put books in there, they put anything.
That's nice. You could probably do a twofold, books and blessings all in the same box. So if anybody can pull it off, I know you guys could, because you guys do awesome things.
So sweet.
Yeah. I know you could do it.
Man, there we go. Got me feeling good right now.
So I do a lot of professional, a lot of things on the side, and I actually started a website to kind of pull all this together, and it's www.floydphd.com. It's just kind of a launching spot for if people are interested in the volunteer things I do, the little library, all the things that involve one spot you can do at floydphd.com. So
Also, link in the description.
I did check out your website right before I got here, and it definitely has a quick link to everything. Everything we talked about, I know I saw a quick link about it, so I'm like, okay, wait a minute here. I definitely like your setup. It's real easy to read, not too difficult. So if anybody's worried about going and thinking if they're going to get confused, it's not going to happen at all.
yeah. Well, and I've got an introductory video, and that was shot by students out of my program. Podcasting, I had high school students show me how to edit and all this.
Awesome.
We've got some kids that are absolutely amazing at our school that do video editing, they do sound and things. They showed me, these were high school students, because I was like you, I didn't know anything about these podcasts. So they showed me and the ropes, and so some of the things that you see on that were I was helped by high school students. Awesome kids.
You can't do anything by yourself. You always need someone else to rely on.
Let them know, JP.
That's the community we're trying to build.
Nice.
Tú sabes.
Nice.
I think we touched everything. You want to talk about anything else you're doing? Any projects, events coming up?
Well, like I said earlier, I'm getting ready to leave for Louisville, Kentucky. Later, I'm loading on a bus. We're leaving at midnight tonight to drive the 12, 14 hours. And these students are going to present a program that they did here. So it's kind of neat to see what we do in the community, and we're going to share it with the rest of the United States. So that's really cool. So these two young men have been working really hard to memorize their presentation. They put together a book about this, and
they have to give a presentation.
Yeah, they have to do a presentation. They have to put together a book, and so it's actually a contest. It's a community service, but it's a contest. So it's a really neat deal.
How many?
Well, there's so many requirements for it. It's not like a formalized book, but it does have all the pictures that we took throughout the project and all that. So it's going to be a real neat deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Skills USA it's an amazing organization. You can Google skillsusa.org and seeing the things that young people do in not only the community but worldwide. I just got back from a camp last week where I spent a whole week at Rogers State University in Claremore. Hundreds of kids across the state came together for this week-long leadership, and the whole week I'm just in awe of what these kids can do. So it's neat. If everybody thinks about the next generation taking care of us, I think we're going to be okay. We've got some real good
Nothing
kids
but
out
facts.
there. Yeah.
We've
That's how we feel too.
We've been saying this for 3 years now. We're going to be all right.
You just have to open your eyes and your ears. There's some amazing kids out there and doing some amazing things to not only for themselves but out in the community as well. So
Agreed 100%.
So, Tim, you want to ask your question?
Yeah, I have a question.
sure.
You probably already said it, but
Yeah,
what is your favorite quote?
Oh, my favorite quote. That's a hard one.
Ooh.
Oh,
I know you got tons in your head. I could see it. Like
I'd have to dig deep for that. The saying that the podcast was named after, the Human Together podcast. I don't know if you guys know who Archbishop Desmond Tutu is I was when I was younger, and apartheid in South Africa was a horrible deal that overcame. There were so many good things that came out of that eventually through history, and so he's a hero of mine. So I'd say just about anything that he says is, and he's still alive, and anything he says is magical in my book. So really neat guy. So
I hear that.
That means Tim always likes to end with a quote.
Go for it.
So
I definitely couldn't right now.
so like Wednesday, Friday, he has to find some. He'll do themes. So
I'm definitely gonna have to use that theme this week.
Yeah, you're like me. I probably have thousands in my head, but the recall.
Yeah, as soon as I get put on the spot, I'm blank.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I go to the hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard, JoJo.
So we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
And we'll be back soon. Check out the Human Together podcast. We're out.
Stay positive.